So I thought it would be fun to do another story time format video. The last one I did was all about my tattoos, but this one is going to be a little different. For those who initially found me on YouTube, thank you so much for subscribing and watching my videos. My journey actually had started on Instagram. I currently have a little over 250K followers. To some of you, that may seem like a lot, and some people might think it's not that much, but regardless, my life has changed a lot since I've grown on Instagram. And the reason why I grew on Instagram was because I had about 3 to 4 reels that went viral. And it's been a little over a year since that happened. At that time, I gained over 30 million views and a little over 300,000 followers in such a short period of time. While I was super happy and thrilled about this achievement, I soon started to realize the inevitable downfalls that came along with it. For a while now, I've been wanting to candidly share these challenges with you all because so many people have praised my success, which I'm obviously very, very grateful for, and have even expressed their desire to become Instagram famous or wanting to go viral just like me. So I want to give you a real look at what achieving viral status on social media truly means and the challenges that come with it through my personal experience, because this might change your mind. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone from achieving their dreams of becoming social media famous. And thanks to platforms like YouTube, I think people are finally realizing that being an influencer isn't what it's hyped out to be. I think the obvious challenge that happens when you go viral on social media, especially when you're a girl, is the creepy comments from guys. So one thing that a lot of people don't know is that before I started growing my fashion Instagram account, I actually started my social media journey on TikTok. And I wasn't actually posting fashion content on there. It was mainly focused on my tattoos. And within the first 6 months, I gained over 100,000 followers. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, a lot of that content was pretty thirst trappy. Like, I didn't mean to start that TikTok to even post thirst trap content. It kind of just slowly happened. Since I am heavily tattooed, I obviously had to show more skin than usual for people to see the tattoos, if you get what I mean. So that obviously meant gaining a lot of attention from men. And I obviously knew that was going to happen, but I was not prepared for the slew of disrespectful and sexually explicit comments. Like, this was my first time truly experiencing going viral on TikTok. But luckily at this time, TikTok actually didn't allow non-followers to contact you. Now I believe they have like a message request folder, just like Instagram, but at the time they didn't. So I only really received comments, and that was a pretty quick fix. I would literally just either delete them, block them, whatever. So I just wanted to bring that account up because making that account definitely had me developing thicker skin. And even though I received my fair share of disturbing comments on there, none of those comments can even compare with what I've seen on Instagram. There was one individual who, although never physically stalked me, would send me incredibly disturbing DMs every single day. For about 3 months or even longer, he would write countless paragraphs describing in detail his explicit desires and fantasies about meeting me. These messages were very sexual, graphic, borderline illegal, and it just made me feel extremely uncomfortable and unsafe. I'm not going to show all the messages on here. I haven't decided yet. I might actually do a very, very fast time lapse of the conversation, but he essentially went into very, very graphic detail on my private parts, the disturbing stuff that he would do to me. And I think he assumed that I was like a teenager or something because he kept implying that he liked them younger. Just very, very crude, lewd, disgusting messages that I've never received before. And I think this is obvious, but I've never responded to him. There's like these buttons when you open a message request from someone where you can either decline or accept their message, and I have never ever accepted any of his messages. And I know what a lot of you are thinking right now, like, why didn't you block him? Why are you even reading his messages? So I typically don't look at my DMs. I look at it maybe once every couple months or so, just for safety reasons. And the reason I say that is because a lot of my followers are male and live in the greater Toronto area like me. I was going to block him, then I realized that it was probably best to sit back and observe this guy's behavior just in case he does something, because he was crazy enough to even expose his full name, address, and business to me. So I immediately looked this address up and I felt even more unsafe when I saw that he lived very, very close to me. I would say he was about like a 7-minute drive away from me, which is terrifying. And since he exposed his own business to me, I saw actual photos of him, so I knew exactly what he looked like. This made me so scared to even step foot outside of my house, especially in local malls, parks, etc. So I thought it was super important to at least know what he looks like so I could be more aware of my surroundings. This was definitely a harsh reality check about the kinds of negative attention that comes with going viral on social media. So the main tips that I can really share after experiencing this myself is to either report or block them so that way they can't contact you at all. And the reason why I didn't do that was because I was busy documenting everything, and that is actually my next tip. I think documenting everything, like screen recording, screenshots, that kind of thing, just keeping records of all interactions of this person will help you in case you need to contact the authorities. And I don't think I even had to report or block him because I think he just ended up deactivating his account. Another tip is that Instagram has heightened their security and privacy settings, so you can easily control who can message you or view your content. And last but not least, consult law enforcement if you need to. And I would only say to do that if the harassment continues or escalates. The next part that I want to discuss is burnout, mental health, and loneliness. So when I went viral, I wanted to keep the momentum going, so I would post excessively on my Instagram. I would post minimum 1 reel a day, sometimes 2 times a day. And I was growing my account while I was working a 9-to-5. When I wasn't shooting, I was editing. When I wasn't editing, I was planning. And when I wasn't planning, I was out running errands, finding new props to help elevate my content. So the most obvious and negative part of this cycle was the burnout. And everyone knows that it's inevitable, but it unfortunately took me a whole year to finally take in how this routine was negatively affecting my mental health. Those who personally know me know that I'm very, very introverted. So I was honestly not that social to begin with, but because all of my free time was going towards my content, my entire social life just became non-existent. I wasn't seeing any friends at all, just family occasionally, but I was very, very lucky and grateful to have at least my boyfriend by my side. We were living with each other the entire time. So I'm glad that I had at least someone to interact with, but other than him, I wasn't getting any other social interactions. After the burnout, I started to truly take in how lonely I was. It took me a while to accept the fact that I had sacrificed my entire social life just for my Instagram. Looking back, the initial high of growing my follower count felt very short-lived. I remember when I had like 10,000 followers, I thought that more growth on my social media was going to make me happier. I remember thinking, you know, if I had 20K or 50K followers, I'll be happy. And here I am talking to you guys about how I gained over 300,000 followers, and I felt the same. I honestly felt no difference in terms of my happiness, if that makes sense. Like, yes, you feel very, very happy, and it's like a high when you achieve what you wanted to achieve. But after achieving it, you're like, okay, now what? And what I'm describing is essentially what the hedonic treadmill is all about. And I'm going to pull up a definition right here so I don't butcher it. The hedonic treadmill, also known as hedonic adaptation, is the observed tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. So I just learned that no matter what, nothing is ever enough. And it's the same idea with like millionaires and billionaires. Like, they're always chasing more money, more this, more that. But at the end of the day, they're all just lonely people. So after when that happened to me, I sat there and thought, was this all worth it? And that's very difficult to answer because like I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I am satisfied with what I achieved. I think it's just human nature to always keep pushing and to always want more. A lot of great opportunities had come out of growing my social media. Like, yes, I lost a lot of my personal connections with people, but this gave me an opportunity to meet other like-minded people through various creator events. One big pro of growing your social media accounts is that you end up getting invited to a ton of events depending on what niche you're in. So for example, I post a lot of fashion and lifestyle content, so I will get invited to a lot of fashion events. Or just recently, I was invited to an exclusive YouTube creator event where I was able to interact with like-minded creators who are all very passionate about creating content. So these creator events definitely helped me to become more social, and they had made me open my eyes to the idea that it's okay to slow down if you need to, because looking back at what I was doing to myself last year, I definitely do not recommend that kind of lifestyle. And aside from in-person creator events, there are a ton of communities online, like on Discord, for example, that have a lot of influencers and other content creators who are dealing with the same challenges. And another thing that I think contributed to my loneliness and mental health was the negative/hateful comments. As mentioned earlier, that TikTok account that I had really prepped me for these comments, but at the end of the day, I'm human too. So I'm not gonna lie and say that these comments didn't affect me or that I don't think about them anymore. Even though hate comments can really help boost your engagement, it could really affect you. Like, you can block, delete, and hide these comments all you want, but the minute you read it and just take in what they're saying, it could be really gut-wrenching. And I was obviously brushing it off, and I just left the comments there to boost even more engagement. But over time, it can really take a toll on you. So some of the tips and methods that I used to cope with these challenges include practicing detachment. So as this was happening to me, I started to view these negative comments as part of the online environment rather than a personal attack. And it's easier said than done. Like, you just have to remember that many negative comments reflect the commenter's own issues, not your worth or content quality. What really helped me was keeping in mind that these comments often come from people projecting their own insecurities. And another common tip is to use moderation tools to filter out comments. And even just engaging with the positive comments can help create a buffer against negativity. So I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to talk about and share. I could honestly go on and on about the negative aspects of growing a social media account, but I think those are the major ones that I've personally had to go through. So again, I'm not trying to discourage any of you guys from wanting to grow your own social media accounts. It's just something to think about. I just simply wanted to share my own experiences in case any of you guys wanted to know more of the dark side that comes to going viral. And if you're currently a content creator and you're struggling similar issues, know that you're not alone and it's okay to step back and prioritize your mental health. Your well-being is more important than any follower count. I unfortunately had to learn that the hard way. Thank you guys for watching this video and sitting through the entire thing. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more content. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any other video suggestions through a storytime format. I'll be more than happy to do them. I'll see you all in the next video.